Hi guys, my name is Jackie Kibanza and I am the founder of La Grâce de Françoise. I have created GDF Diaries as a platform for survivors to speak their truth and tell their stories. I'm hoping to be joined by a survivor every single month to tell me their stories, their experiences, what they've been through, and hopefully this will strengthen those that have been through it, are going through it, and just need that little push to speak their truth. I'm joined here today by one of my very closest friends. Her name is Abigail.
Hi guys.
And Abigail is here to tell her story. I am so honoured to have you on my very, very first show. Don't start your shit.
Sorry.
To have you here today and tell us your story. Before we get into it, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Like, where did you grow up? What country are you from? What do you do with your life? How old are you? Or how young are you, should I say?
Thank you.
Your old age.
Excuse me. I am 26. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago.
Exotic gal.
Yes, child, yes. But I came here. I was about to go into the accent, Lord. Okay, so yes, I'm 26. I was born in Trinidad. I came here when I was a month old. So I've basically lived here all my life, let's say. At the moment, I'm working full-time and studying full-time as well.
Oh, heavy.
Say that again. But yeah, that's really about it. Nothing great with my life in this pandemic, tell you that. For free.
So what's made you decide that you're ready to tell your story, or or do you how do you feel about telling your story?
It's a bit alarming, to be honest. A bit alarming, only because it's happened so long ago, and the most that I've spoken about it is just in like passing, nothing in detail. That's a lie, actually. I have spoken to like a counselor, but that was for like 2 weeks or something. After that, I was like, peace out, I can't do this. So yeah, I've always kind of wondered, why did it happen, kind of thing. And I'm assuming and praying that, it's to, as you mentioned, which is what your whole platform is about, raising awareness for it, letting other women know that they're not the only ones that have been through it. They're not alone. Like there's loads of us out here, so it's okay to speak about it. And I guess I just felt ready out of nowhere.
Okay, well, thank you.
It's okay. Thanks.
So we might as well dive in. Can you tell us what happened to you? What's your experience? What's your story? Take your time.
Call me right on God. Ask me again. Being dead serious. Ask me again.
Okay, cool. What's your story, Abigail?
Oh. I'm so sorry. That's actually such a vague question.
Okay, so you said it happened a long time ago.
Okay.
What happened a long time ago?
A long time ago. I should not be smiling about this, but sometimes if you don't smile, you cry. But when I was 11/12-ish, a family friend thought it was okay to take something that did not belong to him, namely my innocence, my virginity, in a broad way. I won't go into detail because I don't know how descriptive you want this to be.
I kind of want you to be very descriptive. If you feel comfortable to.
I mean,
I don't want to push you.
I don't mind. It's just I just hope you two don't try to cut anything down because it's a bit alarming. It wasn't a one-time thing. It. Do you know what? I was thinking about it today. I can't remember if, because sometimes they might have conversations with you to find out, like, you know, how experienced you are sexually and stuff. But I can't remember if he did or not. So I was probably like 11, 12-ish. He was in his 40s. And I remember like falling asleep on him. So basically he was staying with us for a while, with my family for a while, because I don't think he had somewhere to live at that time. But yeah, so after like a good little family evening in, everyone went to bed and we were there watching WWE, like wrestling. I had never felt uncomfortable around him. I had never felt like he was ever trying anything with me before this moment. And then yeah, so I fell asleep until I wake up because I felt something trying to go into my mouth. And then when I properly woke up, it was him trying to put, do you want like actual words, like terminology? Him trying to put his penis in my mouth, basically. And I jumped up out of nowhere and I was just like, whoa, and I started crying a lot, and he was just like, oh my gosh, don't tell anyone, you're gonna tell me. And I was just crying. Then after that, I'm trying to think about, because there's been so many times that it happened, because he was living with my family, it's all a bit of a blur, if I'm honest. But yeah, it wasn't just one time. I remember before it got to the full extent of sexual intercourse, he used to pick me up from school, and one time when we got home, he called me into his bedroom and he was like, yeah, come and lie down on the bed. And I was just like, okay. So lie down on the bed, literally just side by side. And then he got on top of me and he kissed me one way, and then he said, this is a friend's kiss. Bear in mind, I was not kissing this guy back, so I don't know how to kiss. Like, I haven't kissed anyone before, but he like dropped a peck. I was like, okay, that's a friendly kiss. And he did something a bit more like intense, one might say, but I was still laying there like a little scarecrow, like not even knowing how to. And he was like, that's a lover's kiss. So I was just like, okay. And I don't remember much of the conversation after that. But then he was very loving about it. See, I you know, maybe I can't say it was love. But he was very gentle. There should be another word for it. But he was very gentle with everything that he was doing. So he made me feel like it was okay, what he was doing. Got me in the critter. Feel the tears coming. Yeah, he was very gentle with his way, so he made me feel like what he was doing was okay. Then he sorry for my brutal, but he fingered me. I didn't know what that was at that time, but I have a name for it now, kind of thing. And then he said, I'm going to make love to you now. And I'm just laying there stiff as ever, just okay. And then he put his hand underneath the pillow. So it's like this guy fully, you know, prepared for me. Like he had a condom underneath the pillow. And he put it on. And then, yeah, he tried. It hurt. But it wasn't like a full, you know, pam, pam, pam type thing. It was just like really, really slow. Yes, it was hurting, but I just laid there. I don't know. He like I said, he made me feel like things felt okay, and it kept happening, Like sometimes he'll go out to a party, but before he'll go out to the party, he'll come into my room and do things to me and then leave to go to the party. So it did happen for a while until he left the house. Or
How
until
long
he was
would you
kicked
say
out.
it went on for, if you don't mind me asking?
Ooh, I'm not sure, you know. I'm going to say months. It couldn't have been years. It couldn't have been. But I will say months. It went on for a while.
And when did you kind of realise that, okay, that wasn't right? Or, you know, what made you feel like, okay, this wasn't okay?
When I wrote a book about it, like, because in secondary school, when he left, like, I just wrote, not like a whole, you know, published book, but like just something to just write what I was writing. And then some people found it and they were just like,
Oh, this wasn't in school?
yeah.
Mm.
And then eventually when it escalated, that's when I realised what he was doing wasn't right. Because for the whole time, I didn't think anything of it. He genuinely made me feel like what he was doing was okay.
Mm. So when, obviously, do you feel like if no one found that book or whatever, you would have probably continued thinking it was okay until you probably like grew up or came across something else? Or
I felt used, but I felt like it was okay to be used at that age.
Okay. So what do you mean by you felt like it was okay to be used? Like,
as in, I can say now what I was probably thinking back then, but back then I wasn't thinking
you didn't
anything.
realise, okay,
yeah.
Cool. So do you feel your experience has, I don't know, created unhealthy sexual behaviours?
Smiling because if I cry. Yes, it. God. It's a good thing you didn't because you're getting a good. Yeah, it has definitely.
Just in case you cry.
Bring it. Open it. Just whip it up. Yes, it has definitely. Ask me again.
Did you go through a phase of unhealthy sexual behaviours? Do you feel like what you've gone through has affected the way you handle stuff when it comes to?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Would
Definitely.
you be able to give an example? What's your thought process? What do you think triggers you to do that, or whatever you do?
I don't think there's a pinpoint that I've detected to be able to say to you, yeah, it's at this point when I realise I'm starting to carry on some unhealthy sexual behaviours, let's say.
What about patterns? Rather than behaviours, what about patterns? Do you find yourself in a pattern or like a cycle? You do this often, if that makes
I have
sense?
in the past. Do this often as in feeling like it's okay to be used by men. Like I used to find this safe haven in knowing that another guy's happy even if I'm not. And it's not one of those situations like, yeah, he can be with someone else, I'm happy as... No. Like he could have probably hurt, not physically, but like hurt my emotions. And I was quite submissive in the past to males that haven't treated me the best. Let's say, like they'll take the mick even. And because I'm quite forgiving as well, some people say, oh, you're just letting them walk all over you, or you're just letting them use it. I think I am just a forgiving person. But in terms of unhealthy traits, it's thinking it's okay for a guy to just take advantage. I didn't realise it was taking advantage when it was happening, but I can only say that now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, looking back.
Yeah, looking back. So, for example, they could... I remember when I was younger, actually, that a few years after that happened, there was... I've always been heavy-chested since young. So, the element of attention, that used to you know, make me feel kind of nice, I guess. Not like sexual attention, but just, woo, she got a large titty there, man. And then there was this one guy that I did fancy, but I believe he was just talking to me or just using me for the fact that I had a large chest. And I was okay with that. Why should I have been okay with that? But I was.
Just attention, maybe, I guess.
Attention, affection, something. I think if I'm going to be if I'm going to look at it from a psychological perspective, I think because I thought what that person had did to me when I was younger was so okay, it was so natural, it was so normal, that when he was kicked out of the house, like, that was no longer there. I was no longer getting that attention, you know, in any way or format. So I think getting it from other people, that wasn't healthy at all. And I should have been focusing on my books and myself. But yeah.
Okay. So my next question is, do you experience triggers whilst having sex, or is it something that someone's ever done to you and you kind of get like a flashback of what you've experienced, and how do you handle that if or when it happens? If you do. No,
I wouldn't say I get any triggers, because it wasn't really a traumatic experience. It's weird to say that, but it was not a traumatic experience, and I feel like that's even, I can't say it's even worse than what some women have been through. But for someone to make you feel so calm and so relaxed about something that's so wrong that they're doing, it wasn't traumatic at all. Sorry. Yeah, so there wasn't even a trigger. There wasn't even there's only smells, like scents, that I've smelt before, and that will trigger, because it would have the same scent that he did. But no.
Nothing that someone could do that. Yeah. So how do you feel it has affected you mentally? Because you spoke to a counsellor. So was that for that, or?
No. It was something close to that, but surprisingly, it wasn't for that.
Okay.
It wasn't because he made me scared of men, or he made me not trust men, or he made me, you know, it wasn't anything like that at all. It was something close to it, but it wasn't.
Okay. But do you feel like that has affected you mentally whatsoever, or you don't feel like it's actually affected you? I know you said it hasn't traumatized you in a way, because he done stuff in a very lovingly way, and obviously at that age you kind of took that as, okay, he must love me, or, you know, care for me. But do you feel like it's affected you mentally?
The experience wasn't traumatizing, but what it has done to me mentally, definitely, because I think it's overlapped into other relationships where, like I said, a guy could do something wrong and I'll genuinely think it's okay because he's trying to show love or whatever. But I think he's definitely helped taint my view on the notion of sex, or what it should be or what it is, when it's supposed to be like a loving thing that's shared between, you know, two people or whatever. But has it affected me mentally? Not really, because I've pushed it to the back so many times. So many times.
And can I challenge you there? But does that mean just because you've pushed it back doesn't mean it hasn't affected you mentally? Because that means it is affecting you mentally, but you just ignore that.
I will take that. I will actually take that calmly. Yeah.
So if you was to, okay, I don't want to go too deep, so you don't have to answer. So if you was to bring it to the forefront of your, you know, your conscious mind, because why do you push it to the back?
Because there were things that happened after that I found very traumatic. Not that. Okay, so moving past that. So do you feel like you now, because obviously you've explained that experience has kind of caused you to
human, a bit like differently. Like if when they take advantage, you don't really see it as taking advantage, even though you know it is, but you kind of allow it. Do you feel like you struggle to create connections with people?
No. I think, okay, do you know, I think you're onto something there. I just went my double chin.
Let the chin roll.
Don't see what I had for dinner. A connection? No. A relationship? Probably.
Why do you say that?
Because a connection, I can make a good connection with almost anyone. Like a connection is like a chemistry, maybe. You can have with a friend or something like that.
I get about relationships.
I don't have an issue connecting, but I have a issue. Wait, what am I trying to say here? Making a connection from my side isn't really an issue, but accepting that they're trying to make a connection with me, I think there is an issue there, because I think most of the times that they don't truly have feelings for me, or they don't truly love me, even if they say they do, or even if they say they do care for me. I'm just like, trust issues. There you go. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
So you would say there'd be a lot of trust issues if you was in a relationship, or even if it was just on the basis of them telling them that, you know, they like you or love you, should I say?
Yeah, not on the thing that, not in a way that I think, oh God, they're cheating, or they're I wouldn't think that they're lying to me, but I would think they're not sure. Like they're just saying it for decoration, like they think they feel that. But
sorry to cut you off. Would you say that goes back to the taking advantage stuff? Or
how do you mean?
In terms of like they're lying to you, do you feel like, oh, they're not serious about me, or they're just saying that because they want to get what they want? I don't know, I'm just trying to connect everything.
No, it's good, because I haven't thought about these things. I haven't thought about the situation that tough to try and make these connections myself. So yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah. It could.
Possibly.
Don't know yet.
So what would you advise people that are going through or have gone through a similar experience, or what you've gone through? How would you advise them to deal with it? Obviously everyone's different, so the way you deal with it is kind of not to deal with it, if I'm being like quite blunt about it. But what would you advise someone else to do?
It's a hard one, because I feel like I'm talking to my younger self. Talk to someone. If you're going through it, especially if you're going through it, to talk to someone. Like, tell someone else what you're experiencing, because you might not be able to see what happened. You might not be able to see that what is going on is not really okay. It's not okay, and they would be able to see that and tell you that, or at least if they, you know, love you enough, sit you down and say to you, I think you should talk to someone about this, or this isn't right. So for one, definitely talk to someone. Two, this is going to sound very cliche for these type of situations, but it's not your fault. I thought it was my fault. I don't know, maybe I was walking around the house in shorts or in my nightie, and I shouldn't have been doing that. But it's my house. I should be comfortable. No one should be, you know.
You was a little girl as well.
I was a tiny bubba. And it's not your fault. And I don't want to say value yourself, because I couldn't say that I did or I didn't value myself. Protect yourself, basically. Stand up for once you realise that what is going on is not okay, protect yourself. And yes, stand up for yourself as long as you can safely do that. If you can't safely do that, don't put yourself in a silly situation where, or if you can endure it, go ahead. But
what do you mean by if you can endure it, go ahead?
Because if you saw the size of this guy compared to me, there were, I think, eventually I did not realize, but I did feel like I don't really like what's going on. And I felt scared that if I said something, I don't know, he might like punch me or slap me or do something to hurt me. He was large, mate. Like, he was actually a good 6 foot something. So if you feel brave enough and strong enough to like tell this person, get the hell off me kind of thing, and if they, you know, try and, you know, raise their hand, not endure it, but like, you know, fight for yourself kind of thing. And if they just kick and fight, basically, if as long as you safely can, basically.
Well, how do you feel?
How
do you feel?
I feel okay.
That was kind of all my questions, so...
Oh, good.
You can breathe.
I could fall down at any moment, you know.
Well, I just want to say that I think you're really brave, because from when I met you to now, I feel like you've grown a lot, if that makes sense, in terms of the way you handle things, the way you look at life. I know, like, it must have not been easy. Like you said, I feel like, this is my personal opinion as your friend, from the way I know you, is that I feel like you don't really deal with things up front. But I feel like for you willing to share this story with other people, to kind of encourage them to speak up and kind of, you know, let them know that it's okay to not be okay and not be ready to speak about stuff. But, you know, even though you didn't know that it was wrong at the time, now you do, and now you're able to share it with other people, you know, to kind of raise awareness, like we're trying to do regardless. Anyway, I think that's a big step. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, please.
And I feel like this is me just looking at you, talking about what you've told me.
Yes.
I feel like you probably are traumatized by it. I'm not a psychologist or anything, just letting you know. But I think you are traumatized by it. But because of the fact that you said that you just push it back to your subconscious, that's why it's not traumatic to you. And because of the fact that it's gone on for a while. Because I feel like, okay, many people that I speak to for my actual job role, as in I'm speaking to clients, when they're talking about everything they've been through, I'm like, raw. Even when you're talking, I'm like, raw, that's quite a lot that you've gone through. But then the way you're saying it, it's kind of like it was normal. Like, even though you're saying, yeah, it happened, and I felt like in the moment it wasn't traumatizing because he was doing it in a loving way, but regardless, it's still a mad thing. And as you're saying the words, you still seem quite calm when it's actually not a calm thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
But then I feel like if I was telling you this story, you would probably feel like, wow, that's a bit mad. So I feel like you've normalised it.
Oh yeah, I definitely have.
Do you get what I mean?
That one I can definitely
with that
agree
being said, I do think, like I said, I'm not a psychologist. I do feel like you probably have some trauma, but you just haven't dealt with it. And I'm not saying sitting here saying, yeah, it's time for you to get, you know, some help, get your stuff together. But I'm just saying, maybe it's time for to find ways. Like, you talking about it is for one big step you've made already.
Yeah.
100%. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to be here.
Thanks.
For you to do that. But I feel like maybe it might be a good idea for you to kind of sit down and think about, you know, has it traumatized me to the point that I've pushed it back so it doesn't traumatize me? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, definitely. Because the fact that when I go through things, I can sit there and I can marinate on it for a good 2-3 days. But this one, I do find it hard to bring it to the forefront and marinate on it. I can bring it to the forefront, talk about it, slap it back. But if you want me to sit down and marinate and think about everything, you must be joking. I don't think I could do that one, sorry. But yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think it has traumatized me in a way that I'm not aware of.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with me, sharing your story with the world. Like, I know it can't have been easy. And like I said, you talk about it like it's a normal thing, but it's not okay. And like you even say yourself, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that you went through that. It's not your fault that you've accepted things that, you know, he took things that wasn't yours. I mean, he took things that wasn't his. And some people would not be able to handle it. You know, there's many stories that you hear that people mentally are not able to handle it, and they turn to all type of things. Some people take their own lives. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're here today to share a story, to encourage someone that's gone through it, you know, to let them know it's okay. There's people out here like yourself that might be able to support them if they ever wanted to reach out, if you're okay with that. And,
Yes, please.
you know, you're not alone. You're speaking for people, the voiceless, you know, hear their voice.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Bringing awareness. And I just want to say thank you. And for the fact, it's nothing big, you know. Got you a little thank you present. All this time.
I was wondering what the hell that was up there. I actually thought it was like, I don't know
It's
what
nothing
I thought.
much, you know, just like a few grand, but you know.
What, can I open it?
No, open it later.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you for coming on my show. Is there anything else you would like to say before we end?
Yes, I would like to thank GDF Diaries so much for having me on, welcoming me, and allowing me to just talk and listen. It's not every day that gets to happen, or opportunity like this gets to happen. And thank you for not making me feel like I'm being interrogated. That's it. Like, you literally just want to help the women that have gone through the same thing. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're so cute sometimes.
Wait, what?
Said in a minute. Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you everyone for tuning in. If you like what we're doing here, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. If you've got any suggestions, questions, or comments in general, make sure you comment down below. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back next month with another episode of GDF Diaries.